Hello Oracle people, this is Justin, and in this Oracle YouTube video tutorial I'm going to show you how to delete or remove a user from an Oracle database. Okay, so we have this user named Justin created in our Oracle database, let's say, okay, and we don't want that user to log in anymore. Now there could be many reasons for this. Maybe the user has been terminated from the company, and part of a good IT security policy is always to, when that happens, is to either change the password, expire the account, or do both, or just drop the user altogether once you determine that user's objects are no longer needed. Okay? So, without further ado, let's show you how to remove a user from an Oracle database. And once this is done, the database has no record of this user anymore, and you won't be able to log in with that user ID at that point. So, set Oracle SID, ensure we're set. Let's log in. Ensure we're connected to the right database. Select username from DBA users where username is equal to Justin. So select username from DBA underscore users where username is equal to Justin. There's our user, Justin. So to delete the user, all you do is the following. Drop user and the name of the user, Justin. So that's drop user, Justin. User dropped. Now if we do a select username from DBA users where username equals Justin, it says no rows selected because we dropped that user. It doesn't exist. And if you attempt to log in as that user, even using the correct password, it doesn't matter anymore because the user has been dropped. Now, I'm going to show you something. We're going to recreate our user, create user Justin, identified by Justin123, grant create session to Justin. So we just created a normal user called Justin with password Justin123, and we granted the user Justin create session system privilege so he'll be able to connect to an Oracle database with SQL Plus via that user. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're also going to grant Justin create table privilege so he can create a table, and we're also going to grant him unlimited quota so he can write to the system table space, which by the way I don't recommend. So we log into Justin, show user Justin, and we're going to create, and if we do a select table underscore name from user tables, remember user tables is a data dictionary view that says tables that I created, that I own, user Justin. Nothing comes back because we never created any tables of this new user. So let's create a table. Create table var car, variable character 20. Now when we do select table name from user tables, we will see table A. So there's a table owned by Justin now, and we can confirm that by typing in select table name from DBA tables. Remember, DBA tables meaning DBA underscore meaning that tables regardless of the user, just defined in the database. Select table underscore name from DBA underscore tables where table underscore name, where owner equals Justin. So select table underscore name from DBA underscore tables where owner equals Justin. And we see that Justin owns a table called A. Now attempt to drop the user. Drop user Justin, just like we did before. It's going to tell you that it can't and to use the cascade option. Why? Because Justin owns objects in the Oracle database, and as long as the user owns objects, you can't drop that user. So we have to add the option cascade when we drop the user. And what that does is it ensures that it also deletes all objects owned by Justin. And it's always a good idea just to go through this user's account that you want to drop and see what objects they own with select statements and ensure that they don't own anything that you need. Okay? So now when we do a drop user Justin cascade, it succeeds. And if we do a select, where's it? here it is, username from DBA underscore users where username equals Justin. It says no row selected because he's not created anymore. Okay, we're going to create user Justin one more time. So the cascade option not only removes the user, but removes all the objects that user owns as well. And depending on how many objects you have and how big they are, the drop user cascade command can last for a significant amount of time. So just take that into consideration when you're using these options. Okay, so we're going to create a user again to show you one more thing. Create user Justin, identified by Justin123, grant, excuse me, create session to Justin. So again, we created a user called Justin, gave password Justin123, and gave it system privilege grant session. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bring up another SQL Plus window here, another DOS window. We're going to set an Oracle SID to finance, and we're going to connect as user Justin. Show user, I'm connected as user Justin. Now I'm going to go back to my DBA screen and I'm going to try to drop him. Now he doesn't own anything, I just created him. It's not like I created him and logged in and created a table. So user Justin at this point is just a basic user. He doesn't own anything. So now in my sysdba window I am going to drop user Justin. And the message is pretty self-explanatory. Cannot drop a user that is currently connected. Cannot drop a user that is currently connected. So, quit to log out of the database. Now we do our drop. Now it succeeds. Not there. Okay, so that's how you drop a user from an Oracle database, and there could be many, many reasons why you would want to do this. Again, drop user without any options drops a user just fine, as long as that user doesn't own any objects such as tables, synonyms, views, things like that. And drop user with the cascade option drops the user regardless of that if that user owns objects. It also deletes the objects as well. And you also cannot drop a user while it's currently logged into the database. So they have to log out or you have to kill their session connected to the database. Okay, that's how you drop a user.